Music licensing reimagined.
Hello and welcome to the Social Discussion YouTube channel. This is the first video on here, and in it we're going to go through what we're trying to achieve, how we're going to do it, what's our core message, and sort of lay the foundations to build some epic content on. So our mission statement, we'll start with that, and it's raising the awareness of individuals' divinity to provide certainty through life's journey. And if you all just went, what the hell does that mean? I'm going to tell you. So, raising the awareness of individuals' divinity. I think we've got a horrible sort of view or this idea in the world that everyone's sort of lost their divinity. Everyone's lost this idea that they're created and somewhat divine, built in a specific way to make their life incredibly interesting and enjoyable. I think a lot of people are being forced outside their natural characteristics in the pursuit of capital sometimes, or for various other reasons. But what I want to try and do is raise that awareness of who people are. Like, if you ask, who are you? I hate the fact that we ask, instead of, who are you? Like, tell me about yourself. We ask, what do you do for a job? What do you do for a living? It's like, as if your life is somewhat categorized by what you do, Like, it's kind of sad and depressing, and I'm trying to get that out of my sort of speech language patterns. But, it's like asking who someone is. Like, who are you? And I mean, if someone asks me that, I'm creative, assertive, opinionated. So sometimes to my detriment. Charismatic guy that likes leading and doing stuff, and that would describe me pretty well. Ask me what I'm a landscaper, mate. It's like, cool. So raising that awareness about, like, no, you are actually quite special in a very unique way. I think if we can raise the awareness of that, a lot of, especially mental health issues, will be very quickly dissolved. To provide certainty through life's journey. Certainty is an interesting one. Like, I put that as my top priority in life, is like certainty. Everything I want to do and say must be certain. And if it's not, communicate that. Like, even in uncertainty, communicating the fact that it's uncertain provides certainty. If that makes sense. It's incredibly important in business to do that I've found. It's like, even if there's a little bit of uncertainty, communicate it. So what's lacking in the world as well is certainty. I mean, we don't know what the hell's going on, and most of the time. And everyone seems very whimsical. Like, you invite 50 people to something, 30 of them will find a better option, and 10 of them won't bother, and you'll get the core few that will show up. It's like everyone knows the pain of RSVPs that aren't RSVPs, and they're a maybe, and then they, oh God, it's so painful. It's so painful. So, even if I could just change that, I'll be doing well. Like, the fact that people are like, certain, I'll do this, I won't do this. So I think that mission statement, and that's just a first sort of, go at it. But I really think there's some big ambitious aims in there, which I really want to follow through on. A big part of the social discussions way of being will be, partnering up with companies to provide, like, personality tests and little things that you can, that help you point you, where's your lane? Where's your groove? Where are you going to find the most fulfillment in life? And then providing that strength of character to also follow it as well, and go for it. So that's the mission statement. Another ethos that we sort of carry is, we want to be a social movement as well. We really do want this idea to sort of spread and have legs and travel. And we want to build it around like the social utility of ideas, morality, all those things that are just really lacking. And social utility is a big thing. Once you start thinking along those lines, it's like if something in our culture is not serving us long term, we probably shouldn't be doing it. We probably shouldn't be doing it. Like everyone in the world today seems to be playing very short games. The dating market's nothing but short games. Politics is short games. The capitalistic sort of short game thing going on where everything's boom, bust, It's like we need to smooth out this arc a wee bit. It's getting a wee bit, messy. So a big, a core thing that we want to talk about here is social utility of ideas. And extrapolating them, pushing them out into the future, and being like, okay, if we do this for long enough, what happens? Like one of the massive issues being talked about quite widely now is our birth rates. Shockingly, disastrously low. And they have been since the 70s, 80s really kicked in. But, this is across the planet, and we can't have a capital system that works on exponential growth and a population in decline. Those two things don't go well together. So, we do have a bit of time pressure here. We've got to get this sorted out in a reasonable fashion because, the world is changing year by year and it's only, I feel like it's accelerating a wee bit, but that's just me. How? The how is a critical because with big ambitious goals, you need a plan. So live events are going to be like the cornerstone of this movement. I love live events. I love the energy. I don't feel like that energy in a room is transferred well by digital media. It's you may be able to get it. There's sometimes very small glimpses of it, but for the most part, I'd love to have the live events as the cornerstone and social media complementing it and advertising it and getting people in that direction. I'd love to do a merch line. I really want to create that logo on that intro. I'd love for that to become a symbol that you stand for something or you have an awareness of who you are in the world and your place in it, and how what you have to offer as well. I really want to try and cultivate that logo as a symbol and do that through a merch line with some incredible messaging or something like that. I'm still working my way through that, but if you have some ideas surrounding them, I'm open to hearing them because, I'd really, instead of being like slaves to some fashion branding hoo-ha, like imagine if you could wear a symbol that represented, integrity and certainty and knowledge and awareness and all those things that our society hasn't worshipped in a long time. I wouldn't say worshipped. I would say celebrated. We haven't celebrated awareness, or especially self-awareness, for a long time. In fact, we almost bank on you being not in the slightest bit self-aware. But, merch line. I'm working on it. And why am I doing this? That's a bloody good question. I guess in my life, anyone that knows me well knows I'm a pretty strong personality type, and that has caused, shall we say, some friction, especially in my earlier years. And I kind of came to the awareness of this is not heading in a great path. Something like I had this constant feeling in my body that like you go down this road, it's short games, and short games end quicker than they should have. So I came to the idea like how do you conduct yourself to play the longest game possible, and to ultimately win. And these ideas have been kicking around for a long time. I actually, when I was like 15 years ago almost, like, maybe 10 years ago, 2012, I started a Word document called How to Change the World, and that has been frequently added to, and just building ideas around like how do you communicate, how do you conduct yourself, how do you like make the most of this life, because it is precious. I've as someone that's been almost dead multiple times through analogy, I have a very strong gratitude for every day, like, and how quickly that can go. Like one wrong meal at a certain restaurant in town and she all over. So why am I doing this? Because the way I sort of see the world and the structure that I use to sort of judge my actions and everything, I think and I hope that can help other people in the smallest of ways. Like something, it's like if you've ever gone into, design engineers will know this really well, and possibly other careers past will have this, but just the very fine balance of design. You can design for this or you can design for that. You don't get to have both. The level of compromise and design translates to life as well, and how you conduct yourself. Like the short game, long game compromise is so, and it's a constant juggling thing. Like it really is a constant juggle between getting somewhere as fast as possible, but if you're running so fast that you burn every bridge on the way through, probably not ideal. Because then you're just a dude, standing in the warmth of the fire, but there's no one to share it with. So, yeah, that's why. That's why I'm doing this. And I love conversation. Like the conversations I have, I'm a pretty social butterfly. I get out there and I talk to a whole heap of people, and every person without fail has told me something I either needed to know or I just like knowing. Like everyone has an experience, or down to like homeless people. Those people have a strength of character that is amazing. Like it is actually epic, and you might be mumbling and grumbling at doing something, and they're just powering through it like nothing. It fascinates me how they see the world and how they make things work and remain happy when it's -3 and they're absolutely shivering themselves to death on the sidewalk. It's like, and they still remain pretty optimistic and pretty happy. It's like, well, yeah, nothing's ruling their life. One homeless guy said, I would literally die if I had a ball and chain like a mortgage or something attached to me. Like he's so undeniably free, and other people don't see it that way, but that's the way he sees it. Like he's got no one telling him what to do, apart from the odd police officer telling him to move on. But there's that. But like he just looks at all these people running around corporate jobs, paying mortgages, getting cars, doing all this stuff, acquiring assets. It's like, and he's like, at the end of it, have you really lived? Have you left time to actually live? Yeah, it was very interesting. So, and I want to share that with everyone, because if we all have an appreciation, if we can all see the good in everyone, the world will be a better place. 100%. So that was probably a little bit of a rambling mess, but I hope that sort of purveyed the overarching themes for what we're trying to do here. It is ambitious. Like, I'm genuinely wanting to change the world here, and I think it can. I think it really can. So follow along, please do, because she can be a wild ride, and an interesting one at that. So Instagram is probably the best place to sort of follow and keep up to date and keep in touch. There will be a website launching. There'll be the YouTube channel. This will be up there. Like, things are going to start happening with an ever quickening pace. So please, follow along. And if you have any hookups with like merch or ideas around that, like, please hit me up, because I'm in an absolute fog of war in terms of that. So that would be lovely. And and thanks for all the feedback as well. This has been quite the journey to get here, and I've had so many like messages and people in town being like, "Oh, so when are you finally going to drop something? Like, drop a podcast?" I'm like, like, all that has added up to me being here and sitting in front of this camera in my room at 9:37 at night talking to you. So thank you very much for everything. It's appreciated. No matter how small, it's appreciated. So with that, good night.
Artlist.io